Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. Have you guys missed me yet? I hope so. I've been extremely busy, and hopefully I've got some more time to do some videos now. And let's not waste any more time. Let's get down to it. So you've probably heard the news. The United States is trying to ban TikTok. So I saw this interesting article, and I was really taken aback by the title. And he said the century of humiliation won't be repeated over TikTok. And it's a very powerful title because, there was a time when the British tried to force China to trade with opium because they couldn't compete with China with normal trade, and they trade with silver. And the British owed the Chinese a lot of money, a lot of silver, a lot of gold. So what the British tried to do, they tried to force China to buy goods with opium, and China refused, and that was probably the start of the opium wars. So they tried to force their will against China, mainly because they couldn't compete with them in the market. So they tried to basically force their will against something that China didn't want. And this was part of China's century of humiliation, where the West completely humiliated China. The British and the French during the Second Opium War marched onto the Beijing Summer Palace, burnt it to smithereens just to teach the Chinese a lesson. They stole millions and billions worth of treasure from China as well, and some of those treasure is still in the British Museum, and a lot of it has gone missing as well. A lot of private collectors have taken it and not given it back. And a lot of it has also been taken by Chiang Kai-shek to Taiwan as well. So, it was all part of China's century of humiliation as well. They lost a lot of land. They lost huge amounts of land to Russia with some of these uneven treaties that they had to sign. And obviously they lost Hong Kong as well to the British. So, at that time, there was a lot of Chinese hooked on opium. The country couldn't progress because so many people were hooked on opium that was coming through British Isles. And this is why China takes drugs very seriously. If you get caught with some hard drugs or something, you could face the death penalty in China. So they take it extremely seriously because drugs were part of China's century of humiliation. So it took them a long time to get people off opium and things like that. So, it was a huge deal for the Chinese at the time. So what the Chinese are feeling now, they are basically being pushed through a new kind of century of humiliation. And you see the West, particularly the United States, can't compete with China anymore. They can't compete with technology, with cars, EV cars. They're looking to place sanctions and tariffs on them. You obviously know about Huawei. They couldn't, compete with 5G, so they banned Huawei. Not only banned Huawei, but they forced their allies to ban Huawei as well. All the Western countries like the UK, Canada, Australia and things like that. So they cannot compete in a free market anymore. So they basically trying to use the Tonya Harding approach. Those of you who know Tonya Harding, she was an Olympic, I believe she was a skater or something, and rather than winning through fair game, she tried to take down her opponent in a really kind of mean way just to win. So it's exactly like what the US is trying to do. They're basically using Tonya Harding approach, basically mean tactics or unsporting behavior, basically, let's call it that. And I mean, there's a couple of reasons why they're banning TikTok, really. I mean, first of all, I just want to say that, a lot of young Americans who kind of use TikTok and stuff like that, they're all asking the same question. Why are they speeding through a TikTok ban through Congress and everything like that? This has taken very, very quick. We're talking about, weeks here. They could ban TikTok just overnight. And the youngsters are asking if they can, if they can put through things through Congress and Senate so quickly, why can't they do something for the Americans, the homeless, the drug users, the crumbling infrastructure, all these problems that, America has? Why can't they push through legislation and stuff like that for their own people? Because, banning TikTok is more important than all the problems that America is having, like with inflation, with cost of living, with crime, homelessness, drugs. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, right? I mean, it's just beggars belief. So the youngsters are asking, why are they not pushing through other legislation which are more important than TikTok? I mean, come on, TikTok's been around for how long? Years now. Trump tried to ban it and he failed because it was basically against the Constitution, against free speech. So the judge overturned Trump's decision to ban it. And now they're trying to ban it again. So it's basically down to three reasons why they're trying to ban it, guys. And I'm going to name all three. Let's see if you know all three as well. But let's just go through them one by one. Number one is the competition with China, as you know, which I've kind of already spoken about the free market. They cannot compete with China, so they're going to outright ban it. And it's all part of the decoupling strategy the United States has with China. As you know, they've banned Huawei. They banned a number of other companies China's kind of competing with as well, and they're looking to ban Chinese cars, EV cars, solar panels. They've pretty much tried to ban those. Anything Chinese, they're basically trying to ban or decouple from, and it's all part of the wider technology war that they're having with China. So that's number one. They don't want China to, outcompete them. So that's the main reason. The second reason is Israel. And I want to kind of show you some clips here.
The issue in the United States' support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And the numbers of young people who think that Hamas's, massacre was justified is shockingly and terrifyingly high. And so we really have a TikTok problem.
But we need to talk about TikTok. TikTok, if you will, it is the 24/7 news channel of so many of our young people, and it's like Al Jazeera on steroids, amplifying and intensifying the anti-Semitism and the anti-Zion with no repercussion. But
the patron saint of independent journalism. And it starts here with Steve Mnuchin, who just announced that he's putting together investors to buy TikTok. But wait, Ian, Steve Mnuchin was the U.S. Treasury Secretary. He's not Israel, right? Well, let's peel this onion back one layer at a time, starting with just the fact that he's Jewish, just par for the course. And don't worry, we're going to get all the way to Mossad here in a second. But it's important that you know that Mnuchin had a long, illustrious career at Goldman Sachs and hedge funds. He was a key member of the Trump campaign. And among his many ties to questionable people in finance, he's buddies with Michael Milken, who's famous for being one of the richest and most evil scumbags in the history of the last century of finance. Michael Milken revolutionized the art of stealing from the poor and getting really rich by manipulating financial markets. And in the interest of shitting on Trump and Biden when credit is due, Trump pardoned him right before he left office. So anyways, Mnuchin has long been a huge supporter of Israel. He's been talking about how it's time to invest in Israel again after October 7th, and he recently traveled to Israel with his business partner, David Friedman. David Friedman is the United States ambassador to Israel for the Trump campaign. He has a long relationship with Trump going back to 1994, where he was his lawyer representing the Trump organization.
I'm going to stop it there, guys, mainly because you know that there is an Israeli, basically bunch of Israelis or people who are friendly to the Israelis who are trying to buy TikTok. And it's all because they all want to control the world. You know, you have loads of Israelis or Zionists controlling Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg is a Jew. And there's lots of Jewish associations with Google. Obviously, you know, BlackRock and Vanguard. Disney, Bob Iger is a Jew. There's so many like powerful Jews in so many different pies around the world. You know, they got their hands in every single pie. Even porn, you know, people like OnlyFans is owned by a Jew. Pornhub is owned by a Jew. Every fabric of society, you'll find a Jewish owner basically running things. And it's all part of the world domination that they're trying to do, basically. And they want to make sure they can control the people, the masses. And how do they do that? By mainly controlling social media, controlling Hollywood. So all this woke nonsense that you see in film and TV, it's all coming from there. You know, they got their hands in fashion, in everything, in finance. You know, they're all over finance. I mean, BlackRock and Vanguard, they have trillions and trillions worth of assets all around the world. They are the biggest companies in the world. And they have board members in every other major company as well around the world as well. So they are very, very powerful, this Jewish lobby. And as you know, the Jewish lobby controls the US government and the US Congress. And this is why they're speeding through these TikTok bans. Mainly, you know, obviously they got the issue with China, but also, you know, it's all about Israel. If the Israeli lobby basically lobby hard enough, they can get anything passed through Congress. And that's exactly what they've done with TikTok, basically, because they see TikTok as a threat. They don't want all these youngsters to see what kind of genocide that they're doing to the Palestinians. They don't want to see all these youngsters to see what's really happening in Palestine. And TikTok is a big danger for them. X is also a danger as well, but they kind of controlled Elon Musk. They made him like go on his knees. He went to Israel. He was kissing all these Israelis' asses and stuff. He was literally on his knees begging for mercy. It was quite embarrassing to see, to be honest. And it really embarrassed him. They put a little bulletproof vest on him while everyone else got a full-size one, while he got a baby one. And it was really embarrassing, guys, for Elon to do that. And so they kind of got Elon under control. But TikTok, they have no control over. TikTok, obviously, is owned by ByteDance, and the owner is from Singapore. So they have no control over TikTok, and that's what scares them. And this is one of the reasons why they got rid of Huawei, because they had no control over Huawei. They wanted backdoor access to Huawei's communications and things like that. Huawei said no, and they kicked them out. And they're doing the exactly same thing to TikTok. And this brings me to Trump as well. Trump has basically did a 180. When I said 180, it just made me think of Alanina Baerbock, who famously said she's turning a 360. And obviously 360 is basically you're facing the same way. She obviously meant 180. But anyway, I'm going off track here. So basically, Trump is doing a flip-flop. And Trump, when he was president, he tried to ban TikTok as well. So it's absolutely hypocritical for him to be standing beside TikTok now and saying, "Oh no, we shouldn't ban TikTok. You know, we should let them pass." And end of the day, Trump does not care about TikTok. And you probably ask yourself, why is he doing the flip-flop? So number one, mainly because Facebook and Meta, Instagram, they're more friendly towards the Democrats, obviously Biden and stuff like that. And this is why Trump hates it, because if TikTok is disappeared from the market, then Facebook and Meta, Instagram will become more powerful. And this is bad news for Trump. This is bad news for the Republicans, because obviously it's good news for the Democrats, because they have a social media outlet which supports them. So he doesn't want that. And also, second thing, he wants the young voters as well. All the Generation Z, they're going to be absolutely angry when TikTok gets banned. So Trump wants basically to win their votes. So he says he's saying basically, I don't want to ban TikTok. TikTok should stay, only because he wants them to vote for him. That's the only reason he's saying that. But if Trump was president right now, he would do exactly the same thing. He would basically ban TikTok. Nobody's safe from the Israeli lobby. This AIPAC lobby, nobody's safe. Whatever they want, they get from the United States. And number three, I said three things. And number three is all about control, end of the day. And the US government, this rule-based international order that they talk about, and this control the human population, human masses, is all down to that. And basically, they want to control the information going out. And obviously, you've seen what's happening to Palestine and stuff like that. And they don't want the world to know what's really happening with the genocide. But it's not just Palestine, it's everything that happens around the world. They want control. Obviously, there's a certain virus thing that happened a few years ago, begins with C. And they obviously want to control social media, because if another virus thing hits the world, they want to control the narrative. Anything that happens around the world, they basically want to control social media. So whoever controls social media controls the masses of populations. So for them, it's all about control. So those are the main three things. Number one, China. Number two is the Israeli lobby. And number three is control. Those are the main three reasons they want to get rid of TikTok. So let's talk about the final topic. What's the consequences of banning TikTok? So number one is against freedom of speech. Number one, they're going to piss off a generation of youngsters. They call it the Gen Z. And all of them have worked extremely hard to build up their following. There's, Gen Z guys and girls who have got millions of followers on TikTok, absolutely millions, and they work hard for it, because, these are not easy to get. Try building a million followers, on YouTube or social media. It's not that easy. It's easier for youngsters because they know the score, but for people like us, the old generation, it's really, really difficult. So it's not that easy to kind of build up your followers again. So they lose a lot of their work. A lot of the businesses also use TikTok for advertising. So, for example, if you're a restaurant, you'll have a TikTok account and you basically show all your best dishes, and people will tag you and stuff like that. So a lot of restaurants and stuff will lose their businesses. A lot of businesses who advertised on TikTok will lose all that money. That's all going to go to waste. A lot of the shareholders have put money into TikTok, advertisers, and they're talking about billions and billions worth of money that the US government will lose from the economy when they ban TikTok. But they don't really care about that in the day. It's all about control, right? It's all about, Israel first and stuff like that. So that could happen. Also, companies around the world are going to be very, very careful going into the US market in terms of investment. So if you're another company, like if you're another major company and you want to go into the US to invest, you're not going to do it, because you're going to think, hang on a second, if I go to the US, if I spend billions of dollars investing in the US, building a factory, building a data center, hiring a workforce and things like that, then if I'm successful, then the US can easily ban me or force me to sell or something like that. And that's not very attractive, so this could have major implications on the US economy. Less and less businesses are inclined to invest in USA. The dollar is going to go down even further, and less companies, in fact more and more companies are going to be wanting to move away from the US because of this. Companies already in US, they're going to think, oh God, maybe one day we're going to be banned or sanctioned, so we need to divest away from the US. So there's going to be huge amounts of repercussions if this happens. And one of the other major repercussions is China. Basically, they're not going to invest into America anymore. And China is well on its way to becoming the number one economy. A couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week actually, they cancelled a huge wheat order. This wheat order is worth like billions and billions, and they're cancelling wheat orders, and they're cancelling a lot of orders from the United States and from Europe as well. And they're basically buying wheat, energy and stuff like that from Russia and other friendly countries from the Belt and Road, like Central Asia as well, and other BRICS countries they're getting stuff from. So China is diversifying. China is decoupling from the West as well, the same way the West is trying to decouple from China. So obviously US wants China to buy its bonds. They can forget about that as well if they keep on playing these dirty tricks. And it's just long term, it's just not going to look good for the dollar, for the US economy, for them to be doing stuff like this, to be honest. And I just think this is all going to end badly, because at the end of the day, the US is in a really tight spot right now. They are like a wounded animal in the corner of a room, and that's very dangerous. And on one side they have the dollar in free fall. The other side, the economy is absolutely being destroyed with inflation and cost of living. The other side, they basically got huge issues in their society with basically like homeless people, with drug abuse, with crime, with less people getting married, and population going down and people dying young, shootings everywhere. There's so many issues, infrastructure falling all over the place. There's so many issues that the US has, but they rather focus on these, on Israel. They rather focus on China, rather than focusing stuff at home. And this basically absolutely beggars belief what the hell is going on. So anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.